What unfolded on live television that night was something few could have predicted. What started as a tense international press briefing quickly spiraled into one of the most shocking geopolitical showdowns in recent history. As Captain IBRAHIM Traoré, the young and defiant leader of Burkina Faso, addressed the world with measured fury in the aftermath of an unauthorized U.S. military drone strike that had mistakenly targeted what was believed to be a foreign cell operating in a Los Angeles industrial zone, only to later be revealed as a covert West African humanitarian network run with diplomatic ties to Ouagadougou, a reality that turned a tragic misfire into a powder keg of global outrage. The world watched as images of the destruction circulated: charred buildings, panicked civilians, and the haunting footage of a medical worker's final broadcast asking, "Why are we being hunted?" And in this chaos, it was Traoré, not a Western leader, who seized the microphone of global moral authority. When CNN, under immense pressure to balance narratives, extended an invitation to Traoré and former President Donald Trump, who had taken to his Truth Social platform to defend the military action and condemn radical elements from unstable nations infiltrating U.S. soil, no one expected Traoré to accept, let alone appear in studio. But he did. And when the moment came, he arrived. Not in full military regalia, but in a modest West African tunic, eyes steady, voice calm, the gravitas of a man who knew history was watching. The host's opening remarks barely passed before Trump launched into a tirade about third world threats. America first, and illegals masquerading as doctors. But Traoré didn't flinch. Instead, he waited, nodded slowly, and then delivered a masterclass in restraint and power as he turned to the camera, bypassing Trump entirely, and said, "When your bombs fall on our people, when your fear justifies our death, do not speak of protection, speak of ownership. Speak of empire." The silence in the room was deafening. Trump, momentarily stunned, attempted to pivot, calling Traoré's presence a publicity stunt, but Traoré interrupted not with volume, but with a line that echoed across platforms within minutes. "If I am a stunt, then truth is theater and justice is canceled." The moderator tried to regain control, but the debate had shifted beyond them. This wasn't about ratings. It was a reckoning. As Traoré pulled out a dossier documenting every U.S. military presence on African soil in the last decade, listing each drone strike, each lost village, and each apology wrapped in diplomatic language that never reached the grieving mothers left behind. And for every stat, he offered a name, humanizing the forgotten, forcing the viewers to look. Trump scoffed, accused Traoré of manipulating tragedy for anti-American propaganda. But the studio audience, largely American, didn't cheer this time. They watched many for the first time as the consequences of foreign policy were articulated, not in sterile briefings, but in moral clarity by a man who had lived through them. Then came the pivotal moment. Traoré held up a copy of the Geneva Convention and asked, "If we do not respect these in Los Angeles, then where do they matter? Or are they just paper when blood is not American?" A stunned producer later admitted the segment was supposed to be cut short for commercials, but no one dared intervene. What followed was Trump's frustrated retort, a mix of nationalism, deflection, and attack, until Traoré, calmly placing his notes down, said, "You want the world to see strength, but all I see is a man terrified of accountability." That line hit harder than any missile. It trended globally within seconds, igniting debates on talk shows, think tanks, and university halls across continents. African leaders praised Traoré's poise. Protesters gathered outside U.S. embassies demanding answers. A joint UN inquiry was launched within 48 hours. Meanwhile, Trump allies tried to spin the event as an ambush. But the footage told its own story, one of a man silenced not by attack, but by truth. In the weeks that followed, IBRAHIM Traoré became a symbol not just of post-colonial resistance, but of modern diplomatic strength, showing that leadership isn't defined by arsenal size or media control, but by moral courage. Traoré did not gloat, did not return to the spotlight for self-promotion. He returned to Burkina Faso and declared a national day of mourning for those killed in the LA strike, issuing a powerful message: we do not need revenge, we need remembrance. and we need the world to never again confuse silence with consent. Meanwhile, a shaken U.S. Congress held hearings. The Pentagon released a redacted report, and even some conservative pundits admitted Traoré had outmaneuvered Trump not just in rhetoric, but in vision. For the first time in decades, an African leader had redefined the stage of global accountability not by demanding respect, but by embodying it live under the hot lights of an American studio built for performance, and transforming it into a courtroom of truth *.